of commercial transport have been reacting to this news, and also the driver vehicle unions are also indicating that this 2 Ghana cedis reduction is not enough, and they might go ahead with the planned increase in transport fares. Stay with us. We've got some reactions and some responses to this latest development. Also, some 138 students affected by a fire at Wa Islamic Senior High School dormitory. The headmaster has been speaking, giving updates. Also, some news coming through. The fire has destroyed a car spraying shop at Kotobabi. Stay with us. We'll give you some updates of the Ghana National Fire Service. It's at the scene as we speak. And also, unfortunate news, we're getting 2 persons killed, 4 injured as STC bus burns in Fieri Tukrum crash. Stay with us. We have updates on that here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Plus, the latest from the Accra High Court earlier today with the order freezing 5 bank accounts for properties of Dennis Miracles Abuaji, who is a former executive secretary of the Interministerial Coordinating Committee on Decentralization. All these in the next 60 minutes here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. Let's settle for a summary of the news now. And Deborah Mensah is here.
Okay, Alfred. On the news summary this evening, 2 people have died while 6 others have sustained various degrees of injuries following a head-on collision on the Suhum-Kumasi highway. Now, the 6 survivors are currently receiving treatment at Hawa Government Hospital and are reported to be in a stable condition. Now, the Eastern Regional Police Fire Public Relations Officer DO1 Aaron Edu Ohimen confirmed that the crash, which occurred on Monday morning at Brimso Bridge on the N6 highway, involved 5 vehicles and caused a major disruption to traffic flow. Also, in other story, the Bank of Ghana, BOG, has published a list of 20 unlicensed digital credit service providers. And the BOG said in a statement that it observed the continued operation of entities providing digital loans to the Ghanaian public through digital channels without the requisite license or authorization from the Bank of Ghana. Also, the Deputy Minister of Energy and Green Transition, Mr. Richard Jan Mensah, has backed calls for Ghana and Africa to invest in nuclear energy. He made this known at the opening ceremony of the 60th Annual General Meeting of the Association of Power Utilities of Ghana in Accra. And a fire that broke out at the girls' dormitory of Wa Islamic Senior High School in the Upper West region has displaced some 138 students. The fire, which initially engulfed one of the houses in the girls' dormitory, prompted the deployment of 2 fire tenders from the Ghana National Fire Service. And in the last story, Mr. Alban Sumani Kingsford Bagben, the Speaker of Parliament, has announced private sector-led initiative that will see Visit Ghana on the front of jersey of Sunderland Football Club for the 2026-2027 football season. Now, the Visit Ghana project is a special marketing drive that will have presence on the front of jersey of Sunderland Football Club during the English Premier League. That's all, Alfred.
Deborah, thank you. There's more news you can find on 3news.com. Make some time and visit 3news.com. This is Hot Edition. We're live on 3FM 927. Also on Facebook at 3FM 927 and on YouTube as well. Let's get into the news and we'll quickly get you some update on some very unfortunate news we've been monitoring for the past at least 1 hour. 2 people have been confirmed dead following a Fieri Road crash involving a state transport company, STC bus, a fuel tanker, a Mitsubishi pickup, and a Kia Sorento at Etukrum near Bonsu Junction in the eastern region. The crash occurred earlier today, which left the SCC bus, the fuel tanker, and the Mitsubishi pickup completely burnt. Now, while the Kia Sorento was extensively damaged. Now, let me just go onto our Facebook page right now. And if you're listening to us, you can go on our Facebook page at 3FM927. We're showing you the videos and pictures of this rather unfortunate incident, the head-on collision involving a state transport company, STC bus, this fuel tanker, Mitsubishi bus, that pickup, and a Kia Sorento. We've got some rather chilling pictures and videos, so that's clearly depicting exactly what happened. If you go on our Facebook page right now at 3FM927, we're showing you these pictures and videos of this accident that happened. According to emergency officials, 6 injured persons, 4 men and 2 women, were transported to Howard Memorial Hospital for treatment, but unfortunately 2 people were later confirmed dead. The deceased are yet to be formally identified. We got earlier reports indicating that one of the fuel tankers veered off the road and plunged into a nearby river after the collision. A member of the Ghana National Fire Service communication team has been giving us some updates on this particular development. But stay with us. If you go on our Facebook page right now at 3FM927, we're showing you the videos and pictures of this accident which occurred not too long ago. The vehicles involved in the crash, a fuel tanker, Mitsubishi pickup with registration number GE 8602 2017. Also, we have a Kia Sorento with registration number GT80114 and an STC bus with registration number GS 7050 2022. Let's get a bit more detail on this from if you go on our Facebook page, what we're showing you right now at 3FM927. This accident, unfortunately, in the eastern region. This is near Bonsu Junction, Etukrom. Aleskinate Edudzi Tameklo is with the Ghana National Fire Service Communications Bureau. He's joining us right now. Mr. Kinate, good evening.
Good evening, Alfred.
Yeah, some sad news, and it's unfortunate. Every time I have to talk to you, it's either a fire outbreak or an accident.
It's unfortunate. I'm waiting for the day it will be happy birthday to me.
Indeed. But let's get an update on this. We understand 2 people have been confirmed dead as a result of this crash involving the STC bus, a fuel tanker, Mitsubishi pickup, and a Kia Sorento.
Exactly. And the 2 people, they got bent to ashes beyond recognition. They were the 2 occupants of the fuel tanker that fell into the river and caught fire.
I see. And based on the preliminary information that you have, what exactly caused this accident involving 4 vehicles?
Well, we are getting conflicting reports about the cause of this accident and fire. And so it's something that we want to carry out extensive investigation before we're able to put the cause out there. We can just, for us now, we can confirm the extent of damage and then the casualty and fatality level. But as to what really happened, we'll have to give you the information once we are conclusive with our investigations.
I see. And what exactly was this, the fuel tanker? Now, we understand, based on the information as earlier reported, one of the vehicles actually ran into a nearby river, was plunged into a nearby river. Are you able to confirm that for us?
Yes, so that one was a fuel tanker. It got plunged into the nearby river. It was a fuel tanker with a fuel load. And so based on the crash into the river, there was an ignition, sort of, and then the fuel in the tanker also spilled onto the river, and so it caught fire. The 2 occupants couldn't come out during the fire, and so they unfortunately got burnt beyond recognition while in the car. So after we fought the fire, we had to now go in and bring out their charred bodies and hand it over to the police.
So the 2 dead are those who were in the fuel tanker?
Exactly.
I see. Just for the benefit of our listeners right now, if you go on our Facebook page at 3FM927, we're showing you this fuel tanker Aleskinate just narrated in this nearby river, and the fire that engulfed this fuel tanker as a result of the crash and then also the explosion. Now, the damaged fuel tanker you can see on our Facebook page right now at 3FM 927. I mean, Mr. Nate, based on the extent of the damage we are seeing right now on our Facebook page and on the YouTube page as well, it clearly does explain why these occupants couldn't survive this kind of crash. But how about the occupants of the other vehicles? I'm talking about the STC bus, the Kia Sorento, and then also the Mitsubishi pickup.
So these occupants sustained various degrees of injuries. We are still trying to collect the number of people or the number of casualties involved. But for now, officially, what I have is 6 casualties that were sent to the Howard Memorial Hospital. Out of the 6, 4 were males and 2 were females. The casualty level will be much more. We are still putting our figures together because the STC had people in there. People sustained various degrees of injuries. The Mitsubishi pickup also had occupants. The same with the Kia Sorento. And so we are doing our best to put the figures together. We suspect the casualty level might be about 30. But then, officially, what we have for now is 6 casualties that were sent to the Howard Memorial Hospital.
I see. But is this area, this Etukrom junction near Bonsu in the eastern region, is it an accident-prone area from what you do know?
Well, it's quite an accident-prone area because that's why we especially have a station at Bonsu who attend to accidents over there. This is the first time we've recorded such huge fatalities on that stretch. We are told that the road is not in the best of conditions, and so it's often been causing some accidents. But this is the first time in a long while it's really had an impact like this, and for it to force a vehicle. And so I would still put the blame on human nature or human negligence because it's such a small road with a river, and I suspect one of the drivers might have tried and overtaken, thereby causing this accident. And so I believe people should be much more careful when using stretch like this.
I see, but there's a police statement as well indicating the diversion of traffic as a result of this accident. If you go on our Facebook page, we have that statement, temporary traffic diversion on the Accra-Kumasi Highway. There's a pile-up road crash at Birimso Bridge on the N6 highway, Accra-Kumasi, involving a high-occupancy passenger bus, a loaded articulator truck, and a sedan, resulting in a complete blockade of the road for Accra and Kumasi bound traffic. The Eastern South Regional Police MTTD team from Chebi at the scene and have temporarily diverted the traffic through the Chebi at Insutam for Accra bound traffic and also at Apedja for Kumasi bound traffic. This was released earlier today, and they are saying that this articulated truck was heavily loaded. With what exactly?
Well, as I said, we are still at the scene, still trying to put our investigations together, and so I would want to get full briefing before. So I'm sure in our subsequent engagement, I should be able to throw more light on that for you.
See, and we'll wait for that. But then also we got news of another fire outbreak at Kotobabi involving a car spraying shop. Shortly, we would have that as well on our Facebook page for our viewers and those of you listening to us right now, 3FM 927 to go on our Facebook page and we'll show that to you. What exactly happened in that particular issue?
Okay, so with that one, I was there personally. It was a fuel tank. It was a fire involving a car spraying shop. You know, they have this container of a sort of oven. So it was the oven that caught fire. Right beside the oven, there was a room that stored a lot of these paints that are used for spraying of these vehicles. And so when we received the call, within 15 minutes, our team from Circle proceeded to the scene and were able to contain the fire from spreading to that room containing the boxes of paints. Mind you, the paint is a very corrosive and highly combustible material that, if we had not contained the fire, would have really brought a lot of havoc. And so we did our best to control the fire from further spread. There were wooden structures, there were containers all around, and so we had to make sure that those structures were unaffected by the fire. And so we've been able to extinguish the fire. I'll use this as a clarion call to the assemblies within that oversee the Alajo, Newtown, Kotobabi, Pig Farm area, that they deserve a fire station. It is very unfortunate that when there's a fire at Kotobabi, a fire tender will have to endure traffic all the way from Malasa, Newtown, before attending to a fire there, bearing in mind the traffic situation. And so I believe it's high time we get a fire station within this enclave in order to ensure prompt response from emergency services like that, in order to salvage situations like these.
I see, and finally, and quickly before I let you go, we got news of the fire outbreak that affected the Wa Islamic Senior High School. The headmaster of the school, Al Hassan Bafara, has disclosed that 138 students were affected by the outbreak at the school girls' dormitory in the Upper West region. Any update on this fire outbreak? And we've got some videos of that fire outbreak as well. If you go on our Facebook page, we're showing you the video of this third incident. The first was this accident on the Accra Kumasi Highway. The second one this is the fire outbreak at Kotobabi. This car spraying shop, and then the third incident we're going to show you right now is the fire outbreak at the Wa Islamic Senior High School girls' dormitory in the Upper West region. We have some videos and pictures of that one as well. We're going to show it to you right now. 3FM 927 on Facebook. Any update on this?
Yes, so I concur with what the headmaster said. The house, the girls' dormitory, had two houses, and so it was one of the houses that got burnt. Within that house, they had 5 rooms, and the 5 rooms were occupied by almost 30 students in all these rooms, and so I believe the number is accurate. And the number could have been worse, because the other house, which also had 5 rooms, contains or housed students around that same number. And so we've been able to eliminate the fire from affecting that particular house, which could have doubled the number. And so we are still conducting investigations to properly ascertain the cause of that incident.
I say we'll keep an eye on that one as well, and we'll update our viewers and listeners on it. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
You're very much welcome.
And that's the AD1 Alex Kinate. He is with the Ghana National Fire Service Communications Bureau. There 3 incidents. We give you updates of unfortunate incident. 2 people confirmed dead following a ferry road crash involving a state transport company, that's STC bus, a fuel tanker, a Mitsubishi pickup, and a Kia Sorento, that's a vehicle at Etukrum near Bonsu Junction in the eastern region. That has led to diversion of traffic. The Ghana Police Service put out a statement not too long ago. There's been a second incident also of a fire outbreak at a car spraying shop here at Kotobabi in Accra. Also, there was a fire outbreak at the Islamic Senior High School in Wa in the Upper West region, where 138 students have been affected as a result of that particular fire outbreak. And so those are the updates we got from the Ghana National Fire Service here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're live on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. It's getting to some matters this evening here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. As you may be aware, the Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, Edudzi Tameklo, has announced a presidential directive to reduce the price of diesel by 2 Ghana cedis per litre following recent fuel price increases nationwide. The increases have deepened concerns about transport costs and their wider impact on the cost of living. The latest adjustment, which took effect at the beginning of August pricing window, that's yesterday, pushed petrol to about 15 cedis, 57 pesos. At some pumps, while diesel rose to nearly 19 Ghana cedis per litre. Now, with the new directive, diesel is expected to sell at an average of about 17 Ghana cedis per litre, while the price of petrol will remain unchanged. That's about some 15 cedis, 59 pesos. The increases have been attributed to rising international crude oil prices and the refined petroleum product prices, as well as the recent depreciation of the cedi against the dollar. Here are some Ghanaians expressing worry about this development. To my colleague, Beatrice Edu, we've been speaking to some members of the general public regarding this particular issue with the fuel price increases.
At some 49 pesos on every litre of fuel. The road fund levy 48 pesos on every litre.
The 2 Ghana cedi subsidy is a good initiative, and we appreciate it. But if fuel prices is reduced while other prices of spare parts, engine oil, tires and other things we spend money on remain the same, then what's the real benefit? Fuel is only one part of our expenses. The government should look at other costs too.
Any problem. Now I'm so bad to say one thing you must do and then be the confusion. Canada said, go use to see the Canada any better. And Mumbai, Lord of Fed, there's so much the only baby whom my.
The 2 Ghana cedi subsidy is not enough. We appreciate the effort, but the cost of living is too high, and fuel prices are affecting everything we do. We want the government to reduce the fuel prices further, because this amount alone will not bring much relief to drivers.
The two cedis is too small. It's too small for us because drivers are suffering. They are talking about this thing, the fuel. So better to count down than the 2 cedis. 4 cedis if you like it. Because of we are waiting for the government to say something for us before you can say something about the transportation.
Charlie, for them like 5 cedis, because we did go through a whole lot in this country already. Secondly, you say before do sales give on our bosses, the car owner, before pay commission. Commission now they higher for the boat up top, for instance. So if the fuel price go up like that, just imagine.
Well, some of the drivers of commercial vehicles also sharing the views about this latest from the president directing a 2 Ghana cedis diesel price reduction to cushion consumers. And there's a reason why, because a lot of the vehicles used for public transport use diesel. And so if you hear the transport union sometime last week indicating they're going to wait to see what's going to happen in the pricing window to determine whether they would increase price, that's transport fares or not. So as for petrol, it remains the same, 15 cedis, 57 pesos, but diesel was almost hitting 20 Ghana cedis per litre, and that's why the president had to step in with this directive. But if you analyze the fuel price increases from January till date, from January 2026, petrol was selling at 10 cedis 99 pesos and diesel was selling at 11 cedis 96 pesos. Fast forward to April this year, petrol rose to 13 cedis 30 pesos and diesel went up to 17 cedis 10 pesos. That was when the UN-Israel-Iran war kicked in first. Then it sustained the price increases until sometime in June, when the United States and Iran announced a ceasefire. That ceasefire lasted for just a week. But that 1 week ceasefire announcement led to a reduction in the price of petroleum products from that's petrol from 15 cedis 20 pesos to 12 cedis 79 pesos at the time in July, the first pricing window. And diesel went down from 16 cedis 50 pesos to 15 cedis 35 pesos. Now, as a result of that ceasefire not going through, there was a resumption of firing of missiles from Israel to Iran to some allied countries as well, and that led to an escalation on the Strait of Hormuz, and then also vessels not being able to go through that strait with lots of oil locked as a result of this conflict. Now we're seeing prices of crude oil on the world market reduce, but at a very slow pace. Now selling at about $82 per barrel. Now we're seeing, as we do know now, diesel selling at 19 cedis 77 pesos. But with this 2 cedis announcement by the president, it will now reduce to about 17 Ghana cedis per liter, and petrol will still remain 15 cedis 57 pesos per liter. Edudzi Tameklo is the Chief Executive Officer of the National Petroleum Authority, speaking more about this directive from the president.
Is diesel, and that is why the decision has been taken in respect of diesel.
Right. We got wind as well of the BDC's suggestion that they will be seeking to do spot pricing going forward because of the volatility. Is the NPA aware of that? Are there conversations as well as...
They reach out that they have some prior engagements, and so we'll be meeting them within this week to have a conversation on that particular matter.
Right. And so for now, customers can be patient that there will be conversations and there's no cause for concern.
As indicated, President John Dramani Mahama, in his caring nature, has directed that 2 cedis be taken off diesel per the directive for the next 1 month until such time that government will review this particular intervention. Better.
Right. Right. Now that we're seeing a bit of unease in terms of the escalation on the world market, we're seeing that prices are dropping again on the world market. Going forward, how does that translate into prices vis-a-vis this government intervention as well?
But you need to speak to your friend Donald Trump. You need to speak, obviously, peace within the Gulf regions. And I'm sure with that done, a lot of things will change. But today, a metric ton of diesel is almost $1,300 from $800 per metric ton. That's a significant jump. Very significant. That's almost like 80% jump. And so you can...
Right.
Like, because the Gulf states, Oman, Iran, are agreeing a plan on how to manage the Strait of Hormuz. As you are aware, the international law, the UN Convention on the Law of the Seas, UNCLOS, has certain provisions on international waterways. That's significantly different from canals that are constructed by countries like the Panama Canal.
So that was an earlier conversation that my colleague Eric Mawena Egbeta had with the NPA CEO, Edudzi Tameklo there. You had some of the drivers as well who say, although this reduction of 2 cedis on diesel is a welcome news, they would expect some further interventions in the coming days because 17 cedis per liter for diesel is still on the high. But we do not have control of what's happening on the international market. So what has to be done locally? And that's the conversation that one person who has been following and an expert in this particular area regarding oil and gas, and then also making proposals on how we can be, as a country, self-sufficient, is Duncan Amwa, Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Zama, good evening.
Good evening, and thank you for having me.
First of all, I want to find out from you what your reaction will be to this announcement of a 2 cedis reduction in diesel as announced by the president earlier today. That's number one. And then also how that would impact especially the cost that, for instance, the transport owners or unions want to transfer onto the consumers?
Well, Alfred, this is quite welcoming. If you're a consumer that clearly would have had to pay 19 cedis and beyond for diesel, to hear that the government is concerned and is worried about allowing prices to go as high, has decided to give you that kind of relief. I think that wherever you are across the country, you would be happy for such a relief. And I am equally very happy that the government could do something as significant as 2 cedis to bring down prices. That said, however, one questions as to whether the government should continue to also intervene in prices in a deregulated environment, as to whether it's not going to have a negative telling on the same environment a few years to come, as to whether Ghanaians should continue to hope that the current government, successive governments, would also be able to come to the table anytime fuel prices spike. Those answers you may not be able to find. So I think that we need to balance it. Though it's very welcoming, it's refreshing, it's good news, we need to also balance with finding a longer-term solution to the issues as pertains today. And so I think that going forward, maybe government would need to look at the strategic reserve program, ensure that they put in some investment from consumers and be able to store products so that they don't wait for prices to get high for government to simply come to the table with subsidies. But anytime prices get high, government can simply intervene by saying it has some fuel already, and so it can use the fuel it bought when prices were lower to be able to stay prices at the levels that they had been. That said, I am sure every Ghanaian listening to you this afternoon or evening would be happy because the government didn't sit unconcerned.
Now, the strategic reserve that you talk about, and this is one that at least I've heard you talk about for a number of years now. What exactly has to be done? I mean, what does it entail specifically?
Okay, so here is how strategic reserve programs run across the world. You have your storage spaces that allows you to put products up for storage at a time that probably prices are favorable and you can afford to buy just a little more to store. You do so. If you wake up a week, a month, 3 months later, and prices have surged beyond what you would have wished as a government or a state to contain, what you then do is to fall back on that stock you got when prices were favorable. So let's say prices declined to about $500 a metric ton or $600 a month ago. If you had some funds, you buy the product you store in anticipation of a bad tomorrow. If the bad tomorrow doesn't come, you only keep refreshing and commercially trading the product so that you can say you have a fallback plan. If tomorrow you wake up and prices are so high, there's something that government can fall on to be able to cushion the people and the market. And so anytime that is done, somebody has got to pay for that reserve stock that you are probably going to be able to save. And so we say that the current taxes, levels of taxes, find bits and pieces here and there, save something, and be able to use that to be able to purchase that product that you can buy when prices are lower, and be able to use that quantity or volume of product to stimulate the market when prices spike. If you are able to do a balancing act, Alfred, what it means is that if you bought product at 600 and today is at 1,003, the government can simply issue a white paper and say, look, following from, our observation of A, B, C, D, and following from recommendation by the Reserve Management Committee, the government has decided to put out the 40,000 metric tons for the next 1 month period. Prices to be, delivered will be about 600 or 700. Put 700, so that whatever input cost the government bore to, as it were, store the product, it can recover even with a little markup, so that inflationary pressures can be taken care of, and then the program can keep running or recycling. But as it stands, our tanks here, both Boss, Tor, Tema Fuel Company, Chase, all the depots you have around, they run just commercially. You don't get a situation where you can go to any of them and they tell you they have 1 liter strategic stock. And so anytime prices go up, we are now forcing the state to have to intervene by losing taxes or losing revenue. If the reserve program existed, you can imagine what we'll probably be talking about. But as it stands, government has had to give 2 Ghana to this a liter on diesel. What it will mean is that over the next 1 month, whether we like it or not, between 220 million and 250 million Ghana cedis will be lost to the state per this intervention. Something we could have safely saved on if we had done the strategic reserve program, Alfred.
Sam, I appreciate your time on this. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Ankanama is Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers. Here's Samuel Mensah, who is the Deputy Public Relations Officer for the GPRTU there. That's Samuel Amoa speaking to my colleague Kemini Amano on this particular matter of the reduction in the price of diesel as a result of the President's intervention.
Our transport fare review. And if we stop buying the diesel at 17 cities, then it means it's still at the higher cost. And you know, when we had a meeting that the government, the transport ministry gave us a promise that they are going to work on things to make sure that the fuel price will come down. And proud to their, promise, that is why we also decided to hold on with this our 30% proposal increment. And now it has gone up again. So government is reducing or absorbing 2 cities. It will not have any effect on our business. Because as I'm speaking to you, drivers will go work at the close of the day. They won't earn anything. All the money they will get, they will use it to buy fuel. They can't make sales. And just imagine
but
if
Samuel, you will be saving 2 cedis per litre for diesel. That's some savings.
Yes, but let's check on where it has gone to before the government is absorbing the 2 cities. Supposing it was around 16 cities and government is taking 2 cities, then it means that it's coming down to around 14 cities. But this time around, it's almost 20 cities. So we appreciate what the government is doing. That will also help us, by maybe reducing the percentage that we want to use to increase our fares. But as for the fare increment, it's obvious that we have to do that because the drivers will be difficult, continue to do the work.
When do you plan to increase fares and by how much?
Oh, okay. We are planning from today to Wednesday. Maybe we'll come up with something. We are still, having a meeting to think of the percentage that will bring it out. Although initially we proposed 80%, but we have not concluded on how much percentage we are bringing it down. But the passengers will expect that from today to Wednesday at least an increment will come.
I see.
So that's Samuel Mensah Amoa, who is Deputy Public Relations Officer of the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, GPRTU, there. So live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're on W93.5 in and beyond. And Accra High Court has granted an application by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, EOCO, to freeze 5 bank accounts and 4 landed properties belonging to former Executive Secretary of the Interministerial Coordinating Committee on Decentralization, Dennis Edward Abuaje. popularly known as Miracles. The order forms part of IOCO's ongoing investigations into alleged misappropriation of about 55 million Ghana cedis at the Inter-Ministerial Coordinating Committee on Decentralization, where the agency is probing suspected fraud, theft, and procurement-related irregularities during Miracles Abuaje's tenure as Executive Secretary. The latest development follows Marcos Abuaje's arrest at the Kotoka International Airport on Sunday, July 12, upon his return to Ghana. He was intercepted by immigration officers and handed over to IOCO for questioning before being subsequently released. According to IOCO, investigators moved to arrest Mr. Abuaje after uncovering significant new findings in the case. Now, if you go on our Facebook page, we're showing you some graphical expression of exactly what IOCO intends to do, or what the court order today means. IOCO has maintained that the arrest formed part of its broader probe into the alleged financial improprieties at that Interministerial Coordinating Council on Decentralization. The agency also confirmed the arrest of the committee's former accountant, Gerald Appiah, as investigations into the alleged loss of public funds continues. Now, here's what we do know on this particular issue and how matters have been playing out. Regarding Miracles Abuaje, who was arrested by IOCO. As we do know, the investigators suspect the misappropriation and diversion and theft approximately 55 million in public funds. If you recall, Miracles Abuaje did indicate that after his release on bail, that he was not asked any question regarding the said 55 million. Other alleged offenses include causing financial loss to the state, dissipation of public funds, defrauding by false pretenses, and money laundering, as well as other suspected offenses. Today, the High Court has ordered the freezing of 2 landed property that's owned by Dennis Miracles Abuaje in the Eastern region, 2 residential apartments, and then also a residential property in the Greater Accra region, 5 bank accounts as well that Dennis Miracles Abuaje owns. So that's what we do know. If you go on our Facebook page right now at 3FM 927, we're showing you the court order today and what the courts will do eventually. I mean, the Economic and Organized Crime Office will do going forward. But this is what we do know regarding the breakdown of the property that, as a result of the court order, has been frozen, belonging to Dennis Miracles Abuaje. There's a 7-bedroom residential property at Litre. There's a 2-bedroom residential property at Spintex. There's a residential apartment at Ajiringano. Approximately 15 acres of land at Litre, and some 5 bank accounts. So those are the properties that is going to be frozen as a result of this court order by the Accra High Court earlier today by the Economic and Organized Crime Office, IOCO. If you go on our Facebook page at 3FM 927, we're showing you right now what the details we have actually contains. That is this 7-bedroom residential property at Litre. There's a 2-bedroom residential property at Spintex belonging to Miracles Abuaje. There's a residential apartment at Ajiringano, approximately 15 acres of land at Litre belonging to Miracles, and then also 5 bank accounts that he holds as well. You can find that at 3FM 927 on our Facebook page, also at 3FM 927 on YouTube. You can keep your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions coming. Read out to you and to the rest of the world here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. We're also on Kesmi 107.1 in Tamale. We're on W 93.5 in Wa and beyond. Your thoughts, views, comments, and opinions are welcome. Read out to you and to the rest of the world. We're going to go for this quick break. When we're back, we'll tell you why the Public Utilities Workers Union, that's PUL, is kicking against the privatization of the private participation of ECG by a private partner. Stay with us. We'll be back shortly. Come back to Hot Edition on 3FM 927, also on Facebook and on YouTube. But before we go to matters of the Public Utilities Workers Union, the opposition New Patriotic Party says it will press ahead with this nationwide Democracy Under Attack demonstration on Thursday, August 6, after completing all required notification processes with the Accra Regional Police Command. The party insists the protest is a response to what it described as the selective administration of justice and growing threats to Ghana's democratic institutions. National organizer Henry Nanabuachi explains why the party believes the demonstration has become unavoidable.
So this demonstration is the selective justice we are witnessing, the interference with our judiciary, again, the repressive and onerous bill conditions being slapped on members of the opposition, and the fact that today, as we speak, democracy is under attack, suppression of free speech, criminalization of free speech. We cannot witness the fact that our democracy is dying. And this is not what President Mahama promised. President Mahama cannot so pretend over a nation that over the years we've been tagged as the beacon of democracy. And today we are lacking behind on all fronts. And it's amazing. So we intend to stage this mammoth demonstration to express our dissatisfaction, to press home some demands that democracy is the way to go. So President Mahama and the NDC cannot suppress our democracy. So Thursday, 6th of August, in the morning, 5 a.m., we gather in front of the Supreme Court. We'll present the first petition at the Supreme Court, and then we will move straight the street in front of Yoko. Then we will just move straight to Jubilee House to present the other petition. There will be a last petition that will be sent to Parliament House, but we will delegate the leadership in Parliament and some leaders of our party to present that petition. But we are going to hold this mammoth demonstration, democracy under attack. It is so amazing how President Mahama, just in 2025, immediately he became president, he sanctioned the Attorney General to go to the court and free all NDC elements who are standing trial for various offenses. The New Patriotic Party, we will not stand, watch on whilst this country suffer the gradual depreciation of our democracy.
That's Henry Nanabuachi. There is a national organizer of the NPP. Also live here on Hot Edition on 3FM 92.7. And earlier today we got a statement from the Public Utilities Workers Union describing the appointment of a transaction advisor to facilitate the private participation in ECG by government as a show of bad faith. They observe with keen interest the posture of government regarding the intended private sector participation in Electricity Company of Ghana and the Northern Electricity Distribution Company. Their last interaction with the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition was for POO to submit its proposed alternative to PSP, that's the private sector participation in ECG. The usual engagement with the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition after the union responded to the ministry's request to present a comprehensive alternative solution to the challenges confronting ECG was stalled. Alfred Appiah is a data analyst and also a public policy expert. Is joining us on Zoom right now. Mr. Appiah, good evening. Hello, Mr. Appiah, good evening.
Good evening, Alfred. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly. Thank you. Thank you for joining us this evening. First off, I see the ECG's accounts as published earlier. That's sometime last week, and the most part of the weekend we've been looking at it quite closely. It tells a story, does it not? In fact, this is the first AGM that they have held since 2018. Now, if you read the headlines, you'll see ECG slash its net losses by an impressive 69.5%, dropping from 8.26 billion down to 2.52 billion, But there's some devil in the detail, is it not?
Absolutely, and a lot of it is, the exchange rate, right? We know that for organizations like ECG, who they pay their creditors or their service providers in dollars, but they buy the power, or they sell the power to consumers in cities, right? And so when the exchange rate does well, essentially that helps them, right? So when you take a look at ECG's financial statement, right, one of the things that is interesting is that the loss is actually very big when you're just looking at it, the operations, right? So like the day-to-day operations of ECG. So from a revenue of about 22 billion in 2025, and then the cost of sales is about 34 billion, and then also the administrative expense of about 2.3 billion. So when you look at that and do the math, it's actually an operating loss of about 14.3 billion. But what helped them is that the exchange rate, right? So ECG has liabilities and payables that are denominated in dollars, and because of the performance of the cedi, that helped them. And so when that was converted, that generated an exchange gain of about 12.15 billion. So then the collective profit after tax then comes down to 2.5 billion, right? So again, some of this you might interpret as like, especially on the exchange stuff, you might interpret as like a paper gain kind of thing, right? Because it's really not something that's really translated into cash. It's just the debt that you have. If we translate it, right, that debt is now less in cedi terms just because of the exchange, right? And so that's the reason. That's a significant part of the reason. But the operations itself, still generated significant losses. And when you dig deeper, you see that some of the things, they haven't really been significant changes, like the distribution losses, for example, which is the power that is before they start billing, right? So power that is lost when it is being distributed, and then also the people that are stealing power, the unmetered connections, that basically was 27% in 2024, and then it's about 26.88, I think, percent. So it's like still 27%, hasn't really moved that much.
I see. And hold on a bit for me. Timothy Nyame is General Secretary of the Public Utilities Workers Union. Mr. Nyame, why do you describe as bad faith the engagement of a transaction advisor for the private sector participation in ECG?
Okay. Thank you very much, and warm greeting to your listeners and viewers. As you can recall, this struggle against government internal privatization started some years now, about getting to almost 2 years now, and where we stated our position to government in terms of what government should do to sustain ECG. And our last engagement with government was for us to prepare our position paper for them to study and possible engagement. So we send this position paper expecting government to let us have the engagement, only for her to see or hear that the national advisor has been appointed and the roadmap to which they are starting to bring the PSP has been specified. We take this as a betrayal of trust, and then that's why we are sending this message.
I see. Daniel. But if you just say this is a betrayal of trust, what alternative could have been presented than the private sector participation? Do you have a turnaround plan for ECG? Because I'm still seeing losses. I mean, and the only reason why the ECG books looks good, just as Alfred Apia, who's on the phone on Zoom, has just indicated, is because the currency, the cedi, strengthened against the dollar. It's not as if you've done anything like really magical to improve on your revenue. So what are we? Why should we still stick with you?
Brother, I beg to disagree with you. Heavily. Even you can recall before the HL rate started picking up, the performance of ECG has started already. You can recall very well. So no, we are not banking our hope on the exchange rate at all. The government themselves is their way. Can you recall when the honorable majority leader made counted the travel achievement of ECG on the floor of Parliament? Did they say it was as a result of the currency fluctuation, currency stability of currency? No. Look, the performance, as you speak now, in your studio, you know that you rely on electricity from electricity supply and not so necessarily rely on your generators. You can compare that time to now. Are you saying that there's no performance? You have also heard of the performance in terms of revenue generating for a record low of 900 to 2.1 million as we speak now. And there are other performance. Look, just last week we went for
I see.
Yes.
Right. So, Alfred, does this convince you? Maybe in a minute. And then Ulrich is standing by. That's quickly.
Well, no, I don't. I think that when we are looking at ECG's performance, right, the nominal revenues are not a good way to look at it because, and I think the other thing that I think has been misconstrued a little bit is the improved compliance with the cash waterfall mechanism being interpreted as significant increase in revenue. Because we know that when PwC audited ECG, they were already making over 1.5 billion as of 2024. So we know that it was just a compliance that they were not declaring all of that money to the cash waterfall, right? So that 900 million baseline, I don't think can be correct because of the fact that we know they were under declaring, right? We have to look at their collection efficiency, for example, right? PURC target for them is about 98%. I think they're doing about 86%. So apart from the distribution losses, there's also the collection inefficiency, right? So I don't think we can just look at the nominal numbers and say that they're doing well. We have to look at it against some of those benchmarks that have been set for them.
Yeah, thank you so much, Alfred. Appreciate you. We'll connect tonight. Appreciate you. That's Alfred Appiah, is a data expert and analyst as well. And joining us right now with the latest in the world of sports, Oreko Ampofo is standing by.
Your finest tunes in.
Hello, good evening, and welcome to the sports segment here on Hot Edition on TFM 92.7. My name is Oreko Ampofo, and we start off from the Black Satellites, who were eliminated from the WAFU B Championships ongoing in Cote d'Ivoire after a goalless draw with Togo meant that they cannot progress out of the group stages. Head coach of the side, Maxwell Kunedu, has called for a comprehensive overhaul of the team ahead of the next AFCON, which is set to be hosted here in Ghana.
I think definitely we will not present the same team during the Cup of Nations. Yeah, we augmented the squad in the course of the preparations. We know Ghana, we have a lot of good youth players. That's why I said we reorganizing ourselves. Different for this tournament, we just had to maintain the local boys and use them to see what they can also offer. Yes, it's true. Some of them have demonstrated that if they get the chance, they can really, prove what they've got.
And so that was head coach of the Black Satellites, Maxwell Kunedu, bringing an end to Hot Edition here on TFM 92.7. My name is Oreko Ampofo, and you can join us same time tomorrow for the latest news in Ghana, across the continent, and the globe.